So I'm going to read a story that I've never read before, even though it's been in this book for a long time. Just got to find it. I know it's in here. Okay, it's called Plunge Headlong into the Abyss with Guns Blazing and Lengths Tangled. And it's a little bit long, so I won't be able to finish it. That's okay. The abyss was found in October, but not formally studied until the following spring. The retired widower who discovered it had tried to hide it because he used it to get free cable. Apparently, by continuously tossing in leftover food or old postcards, he received over 6,000 channels from the abyss, some of which don't even exist. Even though he tuned in to what later was revealed to be the actual voice of President Grover Cleveland, posthumously trying to contact the American public via channel 4375 about a clothing line franchise, as well as 16 channels broadcasting apparently live feeds of major historical events, the old man primarily used the abyss to watch syndicated reruns of Wheel of Fortune. It's better when I watch it through the bottomless black fear void in all of our hearts than when I watch it on basic cable, he told scientists after being forcibly removed from his home, slated to be leveled hours later. I think the old thing somehow makes the prizes more exotic. I don't know the physics of it really, but it feels 100% right when I say it out loud like this. Trying it, scientists claim that saying it out loud did in fact make it feel 100% correct, whereas previously it hadn't. But the tenuous theory has yet to be corroborated or disproven, primarily because the formal research team brought in to lead the investigation of the abyss lost its federal funding after a change in political climate. Before committing suicide, Senator Ellison, Republican, North Carolina, famously spoke to the House about a bill detailing forthcoming research grants. Was America founded on the emptiness that pervades everything we do every day, all the time, everywhere? Ladies and gentlemen, not my America. I mean, am I wrong in saying it, in having a proud faith that the America I know and love was founded, or at least more founded, definitely at least more founded, if not totally founded, on special boots for digging? No, I am not wrong, I am right. Special boots for digging brought to us by Telco, which I have proudly invested in, are more American than some immensely infinite whole. I urge you all today to vote with your hearts, but not the part that is clouded in darkness and meaninglessness. Use the other, more American parts like the left ventricle or even the tricuspid. The abyss was subsequently sold at federal auction to a startup investment firm intending to sit on the purchase while its value appreciated. Our analysts, one spokesperson said at the time of purchase, are reporting that the abyss only increases its emptiness and is every day comprised of more and more nothing-erness, a word coined to describe the severity of this new nothing that goes beyond all previous notions of nothing. To be quite honest, I don't really get all the math behind it, but really, in our viewpoint, it's not so much an abyss as it is what we around the office are calling a gold mine river. That is, a river flowing with many individual gold mines instead of water, insomuch as it's true that nothing and gold are interchangeable. And according to our advanced business models, they are. After filing for bankruptcy, Zed Exchanges Limited donated the abyss to charity in an attempt at one-time tax break. The recipient, Planned Parenthood, took offense to their receiving the donation, however, and quickly had their lawyers expunge the unwanted real estate, selling it at extremely low cost to a young entrepreneur by the name of Ted Aplansky, who boasted of plans to open a luxury spa and resort, aptly named The Last Resort, specializing in religious retreats. For too long, the atheists of America have waited for a Mecca to call their own. He made clear to the press, and it goes without saying, that the atheist Mecca will provide the emptiness we've all come to expect in our own lives, only at much higher intensity than you have ever experienced before. And in addition, it will also come complete with a complimentary mud bath because, hey, what else is there? Certainly not anything to believe in if you think about it long enough so that it becomes true to you personally. And remember, it's complimentary, not insultory. Killed by wolves, Ted never lived to see his project reach completion. Riddled with bad luck and bad press, the Abyss remained untouched, unsold, unpraised, and almost entirely enveloped by the framework of an unfinished resort complex. After years of inactivity and disinterest, the Abyss was reabsorbed into Montana state property during a manic rezoning campaign led by a newly elected governor. Prompted by the disappearance of pets, children, and indigenous wildlife, a police investigation suggested that the Abyss was a danger to the local community. All I'm saying is, Chief Brickman elucidated, we have on our hands a pretty big hole. I'm also saying that according to my sources, kids can fit in this hole if they so choose. Now you put 2 and 2 together and you get my point, is what I'm saying if you do the simple math here, folks. And it was within walking distance of the local elementary school. It was only a matter of weeks before the local PTA raised enough money to build a barbed wire fence around the Abyss, in addition to enlisting a 24-hour security force. And so it was that Wilson Bettertone became a security guard of the endless void inside all of us and all around us, though admittedly concentrated most densely here at his post in the fields of Tandahone, Montana. Wilson recalls a famous quote by someone sometime somewhere. He can't quite remember who or when or where. When you stare into the abyss also stares into you. Having more than enough time to stare into it himself, Wilson can and does say with authority that it doesn't so much stare back at you as it more often gooses you when you aren't looking. Kind of a pinch in the rear. But then also it's kind of only in your mind. You really have to stand on the edge of this nothingness hole to understand the feeling, though. Still, calling it a hole isn't exactly right either. That is, it isn't a hole at all. It's nothing at all. And it's not the type of nothing where there's just a bunch of empty space like a desert or something, or a canyon. No, it's more like the kind where there isn't even an empty space in the spot where there isn't anything to begin with. I mean, you can't see it like you can see a hole, but you also can't not see it either. It's right not there where it isn't. Just as plain as the day. There's the abyss, you'd say, if you saw it. Though, like I said, you kind of have to not see it up close and personal to really see what I'm talking about here, or not talking about, for that matter. Wilson is 30 years old and unmarried. Women complain of him. He talks too much. He starts saying something about dinner, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, he's still talking, and you're driving drunken on a cornfield because you hate your parents. On a typical day, Wilson shows up at work, sits at his booth doing, as he puts it, next to nothing. Now, he likes to say next to nothing specifically because doing nothing kind of loses its meaning when you're sitting next to the abyss, which is quite literally doing nothing, or perhaps more precisely, not doing something. You can't tell which, really. I've tried. In fact, I usually try to tell the difference between doing nothing and not doing something every day before lunch. It's exhausting. Wilson is slightly cross-eyed. For the most part, no one comes and no one goes. I see the night shift guard when I come in and he heads home to his wife. Otherwise, it's usually just me. The kids don't come anymore and the invisible fence keeps the dogs out. Occasionally, though, an old man or drunk shows up shouting obscenities and tries to hop into the abyss, crying or smiling or both or neither or one and then the other or all of them kind of mixed together, so it looks more like constipation. Most of the time, their wives died or left them or don't love them or never met or married them in the first place. The night guard at the nothing hole is a drunk. His name is Ted Vancouver, and to his credit, more people know the former than the latter. Apparently, he falls asleep on the job. Security cameras caught a homeless man hopping the fence unmolested and on Ted's watch, then hurling himself naked into the endless nothing, holding the mayor's baby and a bag full of staplers reported missing earlier that day. Ted had no explanation for this, so he was docked 3 weeks' pay. In addition, he received a nasty phone call from the office supply store owner, Mr. McGombath. As Ted tells it, Mr. McGombath used the word truncate in a fashion that was both threatening and very creative. He moonlights as a poet when he's not managing the store, but he writes mostly with his penis and not so much on paper as on women. More importantly, though, it is because of the mayor baby homeless man stapler incident that Wilson received the following letter. Mr. Bettertone, due to the recent mayor baby homeless man stapler incident, measures are being taken to prevent accidents at your post. A protective hole is to be constructed sometime in the near future just to the southeast of the abyss in order to confuse would-be hoppers. Your cooperation is appreciated. Thank you, the PTA of Tandahone. Accompanying the letter was a shovel. At first, I was a little unsure of how to build a fake existential abyss, Wilson recalls. Over the course of 2 days, though, he managed to dig one, 6 feet wide and 3 feet deep. I was pretty impressed with myself, to tell you the truth. Still, it wasn't complete until I added the sign. It's the icing on the cake. A piece of cardboard leaning on a rock reads, "Plunge headlong into the abyss with guns blazing and legs tangled." An arrow points downward toward the ditch below. Just to make sure, Wilson says. As most of the time no one comes and no one goes, the pretend endless nothingness sat almost useless for months, and then things, as they tend to do, changed. I'll stop there.